Welcome back everybody, and welcome to December. So here it is, Sunday, December 8th, right at 11:30. Temperature is about 61 degrees, humidity's pretty low, around 40%. And it's been about a week, maybe close to 2 weeks, since I've supplemented any pollen substitute. So that's what I'm heading out to the yard to do. Just top off the 5-gallon bucket, but instead of a full pound, it's about a half a pound or just maybe a little more, because we do have some rain in the forecast, so I don't want too much of this to go to waste if it gets wet, which is why I'm only gonna give out half a pound or so. We'll give a quick look at the entrances because they are flying with the warmer temps. Obviously fill up the bucket and call it a day until maybe next week or so when I'll treat for December. All right, just a quick look down the line. Unfortunately, I can't get too close these days because of the fence, but I'd rather have it than not with the bear. But yeah, nice activity. Enjoying the warmer temps. All looks well so far. Yeah, after a closer look, most of the hives have pretty decent activity. It's not uncommon for the hives down here that catch a lot of shade not to really waken up until later in the day, but nonetheless, there's still a little activity on them, so no real concerns right now. But any warm day, maybe next week, I'll pop the tops and just maybe provide them some dry sugar in the mountain camp method if they need some feed, which I can easily show y'all. All right, same day, a few hours later, and I am on the way to Greensboro for the North Carolina Farm Bureau annual convention. Pretty pumped, pretty excited about being invited, first time, and we'll see kind of what happens. I'm really hoping the 5 resolutions that passed last week at the resolution committee pass in front of the state legislators and make their way into the 2025 Farm Bill, which occurs on Tuesday, and I will keep y'all posted, of course. But before I hit the road, just a quick look at the pollen feeder. That's pretty cool. Within about 2 hours, they are all open. As the temperature is about 68 degrees right now in the sunshine. All right, about 2.5 hours later, I have 11 miles and maybe 10 minutes to go, and I am finally seeing Greensboro signs. So the location's right off the highway, so here in, 10 miles, I will be there. Alright, this is it. We are almost there. Alright, I made it. It's about 6 o'clock, so it's about a 3-hour drive, which is pretty easy. Grab some dinner before checking in, and I have about 2 hours before the 8 o'clock county recognition ceremony. So I'm just going to get situated and make my way downstairs for the ceremony at 8 p.m. Not too shabby, Farm Bureau. Pretty nice big room. Oh, they actually have a fridge. What a nice touch. Alright. Yeah, this'll do.
tonight is a time of reflection and encouragement as we gather here at this annual meeting.
What fields look like this, and then the ones that didn't lay over, the water cycle here is a long time.
All right, folks, day one is in the books. I got out here about 6 p.m. and 7 o'clock or 7:30 was Vespers. That led into the awards night starting at 8, and that lasted for about an hour. I didn't want to catch too many clips or try to record too many. Didn't want to really appear rude. But tomorrow, let's see, 6:30 to 8:30, we have breakfast. And then at 7:45, there's an alternative proteins breakout session. So that sounds pretty cool. And then a variety of things throughout the day. And Tuesday afternoon, that is the big day. That's when the voting members are going to present all of the accepted resolutions from last week's resolution meeting for vote, and whatever gets decided on should be entered into 2025's Farm Bill. So I suggested, or I made 8 resolutions at the county level. Of those 8 for beekeeping, of those 8, 5 were voted in favor at last week's resolution committee. So those 5 will go in front of the folks that make the decision and vote on Tuesday. So that's pretty cool. Not too bad for being a part of the Farm Bureau Federation for the first year to make some resolutions and for them to be voted on and make it to state voting again here in a few days. So that's it for me. Absolutely beautiful place here at the Sheraton Four Seasons in Greensboro. Really nice hotel, connects right next to the connects to the conference center. Couldn't ask for a better venue. Nice room, as y'all saw. I'm just going to enjoy myself for the next few days, meet a bunch of folks from the North Carolina Farm Bureau throughout the state, and maybe make some connections, find some fellow beekeepers. I'm pretty sure there's a few of us in the crowd. I just haven't met them yet, and just enjoy myself. So stay tuned. This is the 89th annual convention of the North Carolina Farm Bureau Federation. All right, good morning everybody from my hotel room, which is actually pretty darn nice. So it's Monday, December 9th. Breakfast started at 6:30, lasts all the way through 8:30. It's currently just after 7. I'm gonna make my way downstairs here very shortly and very quickly because I need to get some food, and then I'm gonna make it a point to sit through the alternative proteins breakout session, which starts at 7:45 and lasts for about an hour. And then at 9, we have the actual convening of the convention, which we have colors by the Navy JROTC Color Guard, Pledge of Allegiance, National Anthem, some congressional speakers, Council of State members, legislative leaders, and then it wraps up with a presentation of the Distinguished Service Board. And then there's a whole bunch of activities and some other meetings throughout the day, so it should be pretty cool, should be pretty interesting. Obviously this is a first for me, so I'm just kind of taking it all in, seeing who I recognize from the Resolutions Council meeting that was last week, and then try to meet some new people, and still trying to find some fellow beekeepers. I'm pretty sure there's a few of us in the crowd. I just haven't really met them yet, so all right, stay tuned and I'll share clips throughout the day. And again, very thankful, very happy that Farm Bureau invited me to something like this. I'm truly honored. All right, here it is, Monday night, right about 8 p.m. and it is time for the ice cream social. Just had dinner with the Onslow County Board. It's nice sitting down with Lenny, his wife Suzanne, and some of the other members and just getting to know them a little better, but I'm about to boogie downstairs and partake in this ice cream social, as I'm sure this will be probably the best turnout so far, because who doesn't like ice cream, right? Alright, here it is, the third and final day. It is Tuesday, December 10th. About to run downstairs, grab some breakfast, and then things really don't get started until about 9 o'clock at the general session, which today includes a few invited congressional speakers, Council of State members, and some legislative leaders. And then that will probably last maybe an hour, which takes us to 10 o'clock, and then this afternoon is really when things get going for the overall business session, which is the rollout, the minutes, the treasurer's report, all the formal business things they have to do, and then it goes straight into the report of the bylaws committee, and then the report of the nominating committee, and then the reason I'm here to see how things move along with the resolution committee. That's how today ends, with the resolution, the report of the resolution committee. Hopefully they wrap that up by at least 2:30, 3 o'clock, because I'm trying to get on the road to get back to Onslow County, because tonight is the Beekeepers Association December meeting, which is really our Christmas social. So we'll have to just kind of play it by ear, but that's how today's gonna go. Again, the main thing is the resolutions. So wish me luck. Hopefully the 5 that made it this far continue to make it along and again get voted into the 2025 Farm Bill.
That washed out his tobacco fields and double lunch money that can't be made up for the time needed the most.
Call Jay Parker, Secretary and General Counsel, for the roll call voting delegate.
Onslow 9. That's 6. Orange 6. Arches 4. Nancy has 2. All right, we have 511 certified voting delegates present. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
All right, I want to thank everyone for volunteering to be a voting delegate. I know that takes time away from your farm, your family, your friends, whatever. This is a busy time of year. Thank you. It's a very important work of Farm Bureau and how this whole system works. Developing our policies coming up from the counties up to the resolution session that we had last week. We spent all day going over all the recommendations from the counties, any changes and corrections. And so we came out with this report today, and this is what we're bringing to you today to approve. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I would like Jay to read the rules for today on page 28.
Mr. Chairman, under agricultural policy, federal labeling, number 1, we recommend a voluntary cool program that informs customers about the origin of fish, fruits, and vegetables, beef, meats, peanuts, honey, textiles, and takes into account the unique needs of individual agricultural products.
Okay, so you heard on page 28, we have a policy number 1. What's your pleasure? I have a motion second that we adopt this policy 1. Is there any discussion on 1? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. And a second. Any discussion on 16? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, now what about 25? I have a motion and a second to adopt 25. Any discussion on 25? All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed? All right, page 90.
Mr. Chairman, under beekeeper population number 13, we recommend North Carolina beekeepers raise bees and queens locally to better control the rootstock versus mass-produced bees imported from out of state. We encourage a grant be made to offset the initial cost of equipment for raising queen bees. Number 14, we recommend that we encourage new nutritional sources, both protein and carbohydrates, from various areas of government to help find a sugar source to help feed bees. We we encourage a sugar grant to be available 90 days before non-dearth periods to help offset the supplemental costs associated with feeding regulated sugar for the coastal region. This dearth period usually occurs from July to September.
Okay, page 90, we have policy 13 and 14. We'll start with 13.
Move to adopt.
I have a motion second that we adopt 13. Any discussion on 13? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, let's go to 14.
Move to adopt.
I have a motion second to adopt 14. Seeing no discussion on that one. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, 14 is adopted. Now page 90.
Mr. Chairman, on page 91, number 18, we support the pest treatment grant.
I need to approve it. Sorry. All right, page 90, we need to approve the page, please. I have a motion second to approve page 90. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. We're ready now. 91.
Now on page 94. So, number 18, we support a pest treatment grant for beekeepers that can offset the cost of war mite treatment tools such as the commonly used vaporizer tool. Number 19, we encourage more funding for pollinator-free forage as best management practices in BeeKeeping and CSP. Number 22, we support the creation of a state-funded grant specifically for testing of pollen and honey to help local beekeepers offset the cost of testing and encourage them to become involved in the North Carolina State Beekeepers Association. We believe this will further support the beekeeping community by assuring the consumer the honey they are purchasing is pure. Number 23, we support encouraging the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service to align its policies regarding honey and bees with FSA's definition of honey as a crop, bees as livestock. And number 24, we support recognizing bees as livestock as they reproduce, repopulate, breed, and produce food for human consumption at most every other livestock.
Okay, page 91. Let's start with 18.
Move to adopt.
I have a motion and a second that we adopt 18. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, now 19.
Move to adopt.
A motion and a second that we adopt 19. Any discussion on that one? All right, all in favor? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, now 22.
Move to adopt.
Motion and second to adopt 22. Any discussion on that one? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, 23.
Move to adopt.
Motion and second to adopt 23. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, 24. Motion and second for 24. All in favor of 24, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, now page 91.
Move to adopt.
Got a motion and a second to adopt page 91. All in favor say aye. Adopt possibly in a second. I do. Any more discussion on that? Any more comments on our policy process today? I do appreciate your attention. I do appreciate your discussion. I tell everybody every time I come up here, I learn something, and I learned something today. So I do appreciate your time, and all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. Have a safe trip home.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the few clips from the North Carolina Farm Bureau Annual Convention. All 4 resolutions that I proposed that involved grants. So grants for offsetting the cost for North Carolina beekeepers to raise queens, have their pollen tested to show consumers that it's pure North Carolina honey. A grant for offsetting the cost of varroa mite treatment tools, and then a grant for supplementing sugar during dearth periods. All were accepted by the voting delegates of North Carolina Farm Bureau, and now they will be part of the bill that is proposed to legislation. So very curious to see just how these resolutions turn into grants and the details, but that will be sometime down the road, hopefully next year. But that's it for me. Time to get on the road and boogie back to Jacksonville, because tonight is the Onslow County Beekeepers Association monthly meeting, and being that it's December, it's also our Christmas social that starts at 7 p.m. and it's currently 3:30 and I have about a 3-hour drive. So it gives me just enough time to get by the house, pick up the corn casserole that I rogered up for, and then make the 15 or 20 minute drive over to the meeting location to break bread with some fellow beekeepers and celebrate our club for the Christmas social. So enough of me yapping, because I got somewhere to be and things to do. So enjoy the rest of the video, and this is just a look at how December has gone for us.
Who we are, where we came from, and blessings have been bestowed upon us. So let's begin. Pledge allegiance. Wait till tonight, honey.
Oh, very nice.
That's good. You sleep in the shed?
All right, here it is, Saturday, December 14th, right after 10 a.m. Temperature's 52 degrees, humidity is about 77%, and it is just that time of year for us where the temperature and the weather is all over the place. And the reason I say that is because we've had several cold days again, below freezing, and then next week we have temperatures into the low 60s, mid 60s, and we actually have a day where it's going to be in the low 70s, if you can believe it, for right around the winter solstice. We're getting pretty darn close to that, or the week before. So I'm walking out to the bee yard to resupply the 5-gallon bucket with a full pound of pollen substitute, and then over the next few days, or maybe even later today, I'll pop out here and try and show you all the hive entrances, because I imagine they'll be flying, especially when it warms up to into the low 60s. But let's get this thing topped off, resupplied, and then I'll show you that whenever the bees are hitting it. And if you didn't catch the previous video, or maybe that was an Instagram story, the bees were on the bucket within about an hour, hour and a half from what I noticed, which was unlike the first time I fed them, where it took them about maybe 2 to 3 days to really get on it. But I think now that they know where the bucket's at and it's providing a protein source, they are quick to get on it as soon as the weather allows them to. So that's it for me today. I'll share updates as usual when they occur, but let's just top off this bucket and get some bees fed some pollen sub. All right, here it is about 2 hours later. Just a quick look at one of the winter projects I wanted to knock out. Very simple. Prices have surprisingly gone up on cinder blocks and 4x4x8s. So for what I call one hive stand, what used to cost about 20 bucks now costs about $35. But I just wanted to get some of the boxes out of the shed, out of the garage, store them back here for just an easy grab and go scenario come springtime. All right, now that it's been close to 2 hours since putting the pollen sub out, temperature is now 59 degrees, so it's warmed up just a little bit. And no kidding, we got some nice activity. Let's go take a look at the front entrances real quick, and then we'll take a look at the pollen bucket. But yeah, just a quick assessment. Got some pretty nice activity on the hive entrances. These ones here, very active. Number 5, I'm keeping a close eye on that. Not a whole lot going on, so kind of concerning. I might pop the top on them and just take a quick look. But again, it's been about 2 hours. Yeah, it's that time of year, folks. That is awesome. That is exactly what I want to see this time of year. Just a quick video from the following day. So as y'all saw, I set out the stored woodenware yesterday after I made this stand, and it must be, I mean, it must be the wax Galena Farms dips these boxes in, because I mean they are all over it. None of this equipment has any drawn comb or used equipment. This is all brand new, but I mean they are all over it. Pretty cool to see. Might even catch an early season swarm accidentally this way, but again, just the following day and they found this equipment pretty darn fast. Just a quick look, December 17th, right after 12 noon, 72 degrees, and these hives are active. Let's go check on the pollen sub real quick, since it's been 3 days now, and let's see how much they've consumed. So considering today's temps and the next few days are pretty similar, seems like a good time to resupply the pollen sub if need be. Oh yeah, sure enough, they consume that half pound, maybe 3/4 of a pound in just a matter of 3 days. So I'm gonna get this resupplied and just keep feeding them through the winter. All right, it's just a few minutes later, I went back and filled up the quart mason jar, but no kidding, this is a full pound. So I have no doubt they will be on this very, very quickly. So that should be good for them for another few days. All right, here it is about 3 hours later. I don't know if that's gonna come up on camera or not, but the hives are looking very, very active. In fact, let's go walk over to the pollen feeder and see just how active they are. So it's currently just after 3 o'clock. Temperature's about the same from earlier, low 70s. Holy smokes. That is probably the most bees I've seen on this pollen feeder since I've been feeding. Some fellow beekeepers in the area are predicting a very early season, and I am doing everything I can to ensure my bees are a part of that prediction. This is absolutely fantastic to see. All right, here it is a few hours later. It's just after 3 o'clock, and I am out here to treat the colonies with oxalic acid for the month of December. So nothing new if you're a returning viewer, but if this is your first time tuning in, first and foremost, thank you. And I treat the colonies this time of year around the middle of the month, as long as the weather permits, which it does today with temperatures in the low 70s. So I'm just gonna get the vaporizer turned on so it can heat up, and we'll get started. All right, here we go. As we approach 4:45, about a minute and a half, maybe 90 seconds or so. But yeah, I'll just get the plunger. 3 grams of oxalic acid per deep is what I treat. Deep and shallow, actually. I just treat all of them with 3 grams minus the nuke. And they'll be all set for another 30 days. All right, here we go. Yeah, temperature will drop just above 400, and within 30 seconds, 45 seconds, they'll be treated. All right, I'm just wrapping things up. I don't know how long I've been out here, but it's not uncommon for each hive to take maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. So I doubt I've been out here for 20 minutes, but the cool thing about treating this time of year is when you close up the entrance after you treat while the next hive is being treated, you really get a pretty nice idea, at least for a minute or two, how many bees are out foraging. So I'm just finishing up with the 5 frame down there. I treat them with about 1 gram, maybe 1.5 grams, but that's it for December. One final step before I forget. All right, we are good to go. Not much to do for another month, unless something just happens to come up.
Oh, you want it?
All right, welcome back everybody, and Merry Christmas. So here it is, Wednesday, December 25th, right before noon. Temperature's about 57 degrees, humidity's in the mid 60s or so. And as y'all saw from that clip, the bees are out and about, flying a lot all over the bird bath looking for a water source. And I figure what not a better present to give them today than another pound of pollen. So let me slide on by the electric fence without getting zapped. I'll show you the front of the entrances, of course. But if you can see this already, yeah, there is a lot of flights out here given the temperatures. All right, just a quick look at the first few. All right, a bee just came out of 16. Not too much activity on 16 and number 1 in the first 2 positions. Same thing with number 2 in the 3rd position, but as y'all go on down the line where the sun's been hitting the front entrances for a while, they're very active. But I have no doubt the rest will wake up here in a little bit. Like I said, I'm just gonna get some pollen put out for them, and I am sure this will wake up the rest of the hives throughout the day, and especially over the next few days, because the temperatures, overnight temps are gonna be cold of course, but it's gonna warm up again, which is kind of usual, I guess. But for this winter so far, especially December, we've had a really cold week and then a warm week, a cold week, a warm week. That seemed to be the trend for this month. So again, another pound of pollen. I'll check back here in 2 to 3 hours and show you what that looks like. All right, there you have it, folks. Again, give them 2 to 3 hours and it should be slightly chaotic by that point. All right, as promised, it's been 2 hours. Just about the same activity on the hives. It feels a little cooler. Temperature is about 52. The weather app said due to some winds, it's actually gonna feel a little colder than it is. And okay, we have a few bees, not as many as I thought, but again, it's been 2 hours and it's not a bad start. So I have no doubt over the next few days, this thing will be buzzing and the colonies will be getting some protein supplement in the form of pollen substitute. All right, here it is the following day. So it's December 26th, right at 12:30. Temperature's about 56 degrees, mid 50s. Humidity is in, it's right around maybe 65%. Let me show you this real quick. Got a lot of nice flight activity going on. So looking down on the far side of the yard, just kind of pan across. My main concern is the first 2 colonies down this way, the first 2, right? I popped the lid the other day as I was leaving on, actually both of them, and this one, very small cluster. This one looks a tad better. Let's walk around real quick and see what the front porches look like. And I'm not very surprised that this colony really doesn't have a lot of activity, but going down the line, that looks pretty nice. And I am anticipating a whole lot more bees on the pollen feeder today than the other day. Yeah, nice activity on most, which is really all you can ask for. Oh, that's interesting. You can see that. That bee was just dragging a dead bee. I don't know if it's going to come up out of one of the colonies. And Not as much as I was hoping for, maybe because of the temperatures, but perhaps maybe a little more than the other day. So yeah, just another update, late December. So again, the first two colonies that I always start with, I think they're number 1 and 2 really. Concerned with those, and in fact I do have a plan. I might actually do it today. Just grab the 5-gallon bucket that I have just dry sugar stored in and feed them via the mountain camp method, just putting 2 pints, so about 2 pounds of sugar on top of the inner cover, in between the inner cover and outer cover, and just kind of monitor that over the next week or so. We have a few more colder nights in our future here, but overall, nice activity. Let me show you one more clip of that before I wrap things up for today. Since I'm out here, I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, they just have a pretty small cluster, so they are probably barely holding on, but I will try what I can do to keep them alive. And this is number 2, right? So that's a little bit better of a sign. But yeah, I'll try and give number 1 some dry feed, and maybe that's all they need to give them a little bit of a boost. All right, I've decided to feed all the colonies that don't have a medium box, so essentially all the single boxes, to include the nuke here. So they just got about a pound, half of a quart jar's worth. All right, y'all saw the first few hives to include the nuke, but yeah, I imagine the single deeps, the single boxes, will enjoy the boost of food, which really isn't too many of them. 4 maybe? 5 on the nuke. This one's all over it. They are a little feisty, so that's it for now. That might be it for December. All right, let me share a quick update with y'all. So here it is, Friday, December 27th, right after 3 p.m. Temperature is 62 degrees and the humidity is 74%. And full disclosure, I already popped out and checked on the bees before grabbing the GoPro, because the yard is on the way home to the house from work. And let me show you something that makes me a pretty darn happy camper, especially for the end of December, in comparison to about 2 years ago where I lost all but 1 colony this time of year. Check this out. I'll pan slowly like I usually try to. Hopefully it comes up on camera, but check out that flight activity. It almost looks like springtime out here with this weather, and I believe giving some colonies a boost in feed with the provided granulated sugar yesterday, mainly all the single deeps. But look at this colony down here. This thing is just busting loose. Which one is this? Number 12. Holy smokes. And look at this activity. That is a beautiful thing, especially if you keep bees. And the reason for also all of this activity, mainly due to the weather, of course, but this is what I was expecting to see in just a matter of days, especially after it warmed up a little bit. they are taking this pollen in like crazy. This will probably be gone by Monday, which is not a bad problem at all, because I'll just refill it. I might give them a few days in between, just a little bit of a break, and then refill it. But yeah, if you're not feeding your bees, it's a good time to do so. But yeah, just a quick end of December follow-up video from a few things I was doing yesterday, between feeding the hives with some granulated sugar and then putting the pollen out. I think I did that on Christmas Day. I think I made that comment, or a comment like that. But yeah, the end of 2024 in comparison to a few years ago, night and day difference. And quite frankly, this year's been pretty darn good to us, between our growth and a few other things that we've accomplished this year. We appreciate everybody checking out the channel. I may have 1 or 2 more clips coming your way, but in case that doesn't happen, thank you. Thank you from our family to yours, for subscribing, for liking the videos, for commenting, for following us on our other social media platforms, which are primarily Instagram and Facebook. Just overall, thank you to everybody that supports us in every single possible way mentionable. So cheers to everybody. So yeah, thank you and Happy New Year. We really wish everybody has a great 2025. If 2024 wasn't the best for you, hopefully next year's a little better. We appreciate everybody subscribing and checking out the channel and following us, like I said, and we just wish everybody nothing but the best. But man, this just makes me extremely happy to see this kind of activity, especially activity like that on number 12. But no kidding, they all look like they are alive and doing well. All right, here it is the following day, and I can't wait to show y'all what a difference 24 hours and 10 degrees makes. So here it is, Saturday, December 28th, and the temperature, if you can believe it or not, 72 degrees, and the humidity is 75%. And I've said it a few times, referencing the yard looking like spring, but check this out. Hopefully you can hear the buzzing. So yeah, let's walk around real quick. Just like yesterday, I'll show you the entrances. We'll go check out the pollen feeder, which is going nuts. But look at the difference. Again, that 24 hours and more so 10 degrees makes. Temperatures in the mid 70s. I mean, it feels like springtime. This to me is just absolutely wild, and it's not uncommon. That's kind of the cool thing for us here in Jacksonville, which is on the coastal plain in North Carolina. This kind of weather is not uncommon at all. But check out the pollen feeder, and in fact, I'm probably going to resupply this thing today with another pound. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. So I'll have to keep an eye on the hives, of course. That's nothing unusual. But the thought was, because of weather like this, and they break the cluster and they fly, and probably the things a lot of folks know, they'll burn through some food stores. As cool as it is to see this kind of flight activity, you just have to keep tabs on them. Because too many days like this, I mean, they'll burn through some food supplies. But nonetheless, hey, I just wanted to show you all that, and I may just keep the short clips coming until about Tuesday, which is the 31st, and that'll do it for December. But yeah, one last look, just going down the line right here. Man, it is just such a cool sight. And sound, I guess. All right, folks, here it is, Tuesday, December 31st. right at 10:30. Temperature's about 62 degrees. Humidity is in the mid 80s, about 87% or so. It's actually going to get into the low 70s this afternoon, right? Very surprising. And this is the last clip and the last time I will be feeding the bees some pollen substitute for 2024. Check out this beautiful view with the sun just peeking through some of the trees here out to the yard. All right, yeah, just gonna get the bucket filled up. Give them about 2 hours or so. Show you what that looks like, and that's it for this year. Also, this is the very last of the 10-pound bucket of pollen substitute, so just really good timing. I was gonna give the bees about a week or two break in between feedings, maybe more of a week than two, but after talking to some local beekeepers, they're predicting an early spring. And I was looking at the North Carolina Beekeepers website to jog my memory of what starts blooming and when for the coastal region. And the North Carolina website has the red maple blooming, I think it said January 20th, which is why I was going to give like a week or two between refilling the bucket with pollen sub. But after talking to the local beekeepers that I trust, I decided to feed them today, because if everything shifts up a few weeks, the red maple could be blooming as early as maybe even mid-January. So they'll consume this over a week. It'll be maybe a week in between running out of pollen sub and the red maple's blooming, and then that kicks off 2025. So stay tuned. That'll be in January's video, and we'll just kind of see if the predictions are right and basically what takes place for the month of January rolling into next year's spring. All right, it's been about 3 hours since I put the pollen sub out. So here it is, 1:30. And as I was saying earlier, it's gonna be warm today. 71 degrees and 63% humidity on New Year's Eve. And let's take a look at the yard. Hopefully you can hear this too, and I'll stop yapping here in a second. All right, I'll save my peace to everybody as I'm walking over to the pollen feeder, just to make it not a longer clip than it needs to be. But hey, thank you to everybody. I know I said it a day or two ago in the earlier clip on this video, but thank you to everybody for supporting us by subscribing to this channel, liking the videos, commenting, following us on Facebook, liking our Instagram posts, everything that y'all do, the local folks that purchase some honey from us, to include some folks throughout the country. We actually shipped more honey this year than we have in the previous years, and I contribute that to a few things. One, transitioning to plastic bottles, even though I didn't want to, and then getting the square site up and running a little better, a little more visually appealing and a little more functional as far as making purchases easy, to include purchases that require shipping. So to everybody that has purchased some honey from us, Mike's Farm, Northwoods, Urban Market, Grants Creek, some of the local businesses, and then all the customers around the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, and again, the folks that purchased our honey from throughout the country. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate it more than anybody will know, because it just supports our small business just that much to help us with resupplying equipment, feed, etc., etc. The list goes on. But enough of me yapping. Like I said earlier, not to make this too long of a clip, check out this pollen feeder. This is probably going to be gone. This 1 pound of pollen sub will probably be gone by the end of the day. At this rate, this is absolutely awesome. All right, that does it for us Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Again, we appreciate everybody that has checked us out and supported us this year. It's been a pretty awesome year. One last shout out to the veterans, the Farmer Veterans Coalition, for providing such a nice grant opportunity and then accepting our offer. The $5,000 grant that was supported from Kabuta went to great use, as you can see here. Another shout out to Galena Farms that provides the Hoover hives. Very nice folks. It was nice to do the interview with them, and they posted that on their YouTube channel. And probably a whole bunch of other folks I'm honestly just not remembering right now, but thank you to everybody. That's all I can say. Let's take one last look down the line, and I'm gonna get out of here before another bee flies into my head. All right, folks, Happy New Year. See y'all in 2025.